This program is brought to you by Emory University.
On March 19, 2015, the Center for Faculty Development and Excellence at Emory University presented a teaching portfolio workshop to help faculty begin the process of preparing a tenure and promotion file. The speakers were Donna Troca, Associate Director of the Center for Faculty Development and Excellence and Adjunct Assistant Professor in the Institute of the Liberal Arts, and Anya Kowalik, a doctoral candidate in the Laney Graduate School and the CFDE Dean's Teaching Fellow. This video includes highlights from the workshop.
The teaching portfolio, sometimes referred to as the teaching dossier, is one of the few different dossiers, portfolios you might be asked to prepare during your academic career. These include, for instance, course portfolios, research portfolios. Peter Selden, in his book, The Teaching Portfolio, gives the following definition of what this kind of dossier is. It is a factual description of a professor's teaching strengths and accomplishments. It includes documents and materials which collectively suggest the scope and quality of a professor's teaching performance. And this is quite important, I think, the last sentence. It is to teaching what lists of publications, grants, and honors are to research and scholarship. So as much as you document your research activities, the teaching portfolio documents your accomplishments, who you are as a teacher in your professional career. Now, why prepare a teaching portfolio? You will have to prepare teaching portfolio for as an evidence of teaching effectiveness for tenure and promotion purposes. You also might want to put together a portfolio to come up with a tool for self-reflection and for assessment of teaching effectiveness. And this is sort of more of a professional, more or less professional reflection. One other reason, which is not here, but it's important, is when you go on the job market. Right? Oftentimes you are asked to show proof of teaching effectiveness, proof of teaching excellence, and this is where you include your teaching portfolio. As you begin to put together your dossier, there are three characteristics of what a portfolio is to keep in mind. And the first one is it should be structured. Right? Present your portfolio in an organized, complete, and creative way. Showcase your unique teaching style. To what extent you can be creative, it depends on the purpose of the portfolio. When you have clear tenure and promotion guidelines, you have less room for creativeness and for playing with the format, and then I'll address some of these issues later on. But if you can, there are different websites. For instance, Bibliotech is a website which helps you gather different documents, and if you prepare a portfolio for yourself or just for your website, for job market purposes, you can be a bit more creative. It's an online format. Number two, it should be representative. Represent the scope of your work across courses and time. And related with the portfolio being representative, it should be selective. So document your work in a concise and selective way. Focus on quality, not quantity. And sort of the longer you teach, the more experience you gather, sort of the more selective your portfolio will be. What to include in your portfolio? So this is a very general list of the documents that usually when you read about the portfolios, this is what comes up. Before you start preparing your portfolio, you should verify the requirements for tenure and promotion in your school, right? Just to make sure that you do collect whatever it is that you have to collect. Personal material, right? Teaching philosophy, statement of teaching. This is a subject probably for a separate workshop. Luckily, there are enough materials online to help you get started, and I'm assuming a lot of you, if not all of you, had to prepare a teaching philosophy at some point. Generally, the questions you address: why do you teach? How do you teach? What are your methods? Your teaching goals now and in the future, and this is perhaps also a place to address some of the inconsistencies in your teaching evaluations. Personal material. Statement of teaching responsibilities. This is just a general list of the courses you have taught, right? And remember to include all the details such as course titles, numbers, enrollment, whether the course is required or not, etc. And then representative course material, and these are just some examples. Syllabi, grading rubrics, assignments, handouts you give students, tests. You can ask CFDE to videotape your teaching as well and include that video with your documents. One thing to remember is that when you discuss your teaching style, the how of teaching, your materials, your course materials should sort of represent that, right? There should be evidence that this is really sort of what happens in your classroom. So if you stress in your teaching philosophy that you engage students in active learning, your activities should demonstrate that, right? So just be thoughtful, right, and reflective about the narrative, the larger narrative that you include in your, or present in your teaching portfolio. Faculty development activities. These include, for instance, attendance at CFDE or departmental events, such as this one, for instance, right? It would count. Course design, curricular revisions, service on teaching committees. If you have published on teaching and learning, this would also go into your teaching portfolio. Attendance at teaching conferences and workshops. Okay, reflective statement on the effectiveness of teaching materials. Sometimes the teaching philosophy might be just one broader, larger, reflective narrative that you offer in your teaching portfolio. Sometimes you might want to include very brief, just paragraph-long descriptions of different activities and the syllabi. So there are different ways of doing it, right? But the point is that you don't simply gather, right, teaching content together, you also curate it, right? And these sort of reflective moments in your portfolio are ways of sort of showing sort of the meta-narrative, right, so the bigger narrative, sort of the umbrella of sort of how different materials relate to each other.
And again, I just want to kind of reiterate the importance of the faculty development activities. This isn't just me plugging the work that I do, but I know that from talking to people who have looked at tenure packets, they have talked about how seeing faculty utilizing our services really shows that they're trying, right? So if you are having troubles, and we'll talk a little bit about evaluations, if you're really struggling to figure out how to get students to participate, you know, saying that you came for a teaching consultation and we did X, Y, and Z is really demonstrating to the, you know, promotion committee or tenure committee that you're trying, that you're making an effort to try and learn these things. And that's true. I mean, I don't know how much time you all have to go to, you know, SOTO conferences, but that's a great way to learn more about, you know, scholarship and teaching and learning. And I want to talk for a minute about student evaluations because, and we have formal student evaluations, and then we have this unsolicited comments question mark. And Anya and I talked about this because I don't know if you all get this sometimes, but kind of at the end of the semester, you might get a nice email from a student or a thank you card, or, you know, just like, holy cow, Dr. Troga, that was the best class ever. So I don't know about you all, but I say absolutely every one of those. Not that I get that many, but when I do, I'm like, put that on a shelf. And so again, this is an example of where you want to talk to your chair or talk to your department, because I know, like in the college, it says very explicitly, do not give us thank you notes, right? Like, we do not want those. So they're nice for you, but it's not something you want to put in your packet. Now, it may be useful, especially if they're really, really heavy hitting, like, again, if you're more in the job market, because it would really articulate to people who don't know you the impact that you have with students. So something to think about. I'd say keep them, but I wouldn't include them unless I would talk to your chair or to your dean to make sure that it's not going to work against you. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the difference in evaluation. So in preparation for this, we kind of took a look at what evaluations look like. Anya and I both teach in the college, so we know what the evaluations look like there. You can see for Emory College, they're on a 9-point scale, both quantitative and qualitative, and usually you want to hit a 7. And if you get below a 7, that's when a lot of times your chair might say, you know, this is something you want to talk to CFD about, or something you want to think through, or at least something you want to really discuss in that narrative, in your statement. I've definitely worked with faculty where they had a semester where they did below 7 because a parent died or because they were taking care of a sick kid. You know, I mean, they don't know that about you, and unless you tell them, they're not going to know that. But then you can talk about why, you know, or if you know you had a challenge with something specific, you came to work with us, and then in the next semester you see that that kind of went up, right? You again need to curate that, or you know, create that narrative. Now you see in other schools. It's kind of funny. So the college goes 9. Pretty much everywhere else is out of 5, right? And you want to shoot for a 4. And some use quantitative, some use qualitative, some use both. The other thing that's important in Emory College is this idea of some nuance. I talked to both Carla and to Michael Elliott. So, you know, you want to shoot for a 7, but they know that there are certain classes in the college that you're just like you're going to be hard pressed to get above a 7, right? Oftentimes classes that are larger, right? 100 people classes, you're usually going to get lower evaluations than small seminars where the students really kind of get to know you. For whatever reason, physics never does really well here at Emory, which is sad. And then I think also, I was just talking with Carla because we're about to, in the college, we're going to do a pilot around gender in evaluations. There's SCADs. SCAD's really interesting research on this about how women are often evaluated lower than men. And they've done this where, you know, they kind of just change the name, or with online teachers where they don't know the gender of the teacher. And when they say her name is Donna, the teacher gets lower grades than when they say the teacher's name is Donna. Same material, same delivery, exact same class, just they change the name. So that feels good. Awesome. Just know that I think that the people who are going to be looking, especially for those of you that are for promotion and tenure, the people that are looking at the packets, like they've done this before and they're aware of this, but it's still real. It also is true around age and race too. The other material that you might get from others is peer evaluations of your teaching, and then this is the CFD Teaching Consultation, which I think some of you are familiar with. So, you know, if you're going up for promotion, if you're going up for tenure, you really want to have people writing letters about your teaching, okay? So, I was talking with someone today over email, and they said, well, I've had a lot of people come to my class, but I've never had them write anything up. So, if you're having your peers come to your class, ask them, and maybe not all of them have the time, but ask them, you know, can you just write up a short paragraph about what you saw, like what I did well, you know, and talk to them about it. I think it's really great that probably is a requirement, but I'm not positive. Your chair should probably be seeing you, teach as well. And again, it would be great if they could write something up. And then the kind of other place you can do is you can come to us, right? So at the CFD, Anya and I will come, and we can do many things. We can just come and sit in on your class and just observe it, and then talk to you afterwards, and then I can write up a letter. You do that letter what you want. I don't have anything to do with tenure and promotion. You want to take that letter and put it in your packet? Great. You want to take that letter, put it in the recycle bin? Great. Either way, it's yours. I don't have any connection to that. We can also videotape. Again, it's something that I think is really useful if you've never done it. I would encourage you to do it. We just come on over with our camera. No one sees it. We make a DVD and hand it off to you. We don't, I don't even look at it. I mean, I look at it while I'm sitting in the room, but it's not something that we keep. So it can be useful because it gives you a sense of kind of your presence, right? There are some people, who just don't even understand, like in the classroom, they're only talking to one side of the class, or they have their back to you the entire time. So it's just another set of eyes on what you're doing in the classroom. It's really easy, it's free, and it's part of what we do at CFD. So if you're interested, let us know. You can just shoot me an email. I mean, the semesters are just, kind of winding down, so if we can't get to it this semester, we can always come in. And depending on when you're, do it early. Don't wait till the last minute, because I don't want us to not be able to do it and not be able to include it in your packet. And then other material that you might want to think about is honors and awards. I'm going to send, like I said, we're going to send you this PowerPoint so you can click on this link. I'm not going to take the time to do it now. But I'm struck by, thank goodness I read the Emory, every report in the Emory homepage, but I'm struck by how many teaching awards there are across the university, right? So the big one that everyone knows is the Emory Williams, right? And so this is like the best of the best. But there are a lot of teaching awards in the schools, and if you got those, put that in your portfolio, right? That means that someone thinks you're a great teacher. And so it's important to keep that in mind. And then if you've ever been asked to do any kind of lectures on teaching, whether that's in your department or at other schools. Definitely, maybe try something new in your classroom, and another mathematician over at Tech wants you to come and talk about that. Sorry, I'm picking on you, Bree. I try not to always talk about the humanities. Then you want to put that in your narrative as well, or kind of your list of your experiences. And then, we have these teaching grants, right? Both classroom mini grants and the FIT grants. Classroom mini grants, depending on what our budget is, sometimes they're competitive, sometimes they're not. If we don't, if only 10 people want them, then 10 people are going to get them. The FIT grants are absolutely competitive. We always get, a lot more people that want them than can get them. So again, that's something that you try for this grant. You got this grant. This is what you produce. This is the outcomes. You want to keep that all, put that all into your packet as well. It, again, demonstrates that you're thinking critically about your teaching. You're trying to be an innovative teacher, and that you're trying to improve your teaching. Here's one. Peter Selden wrote this book called The Teaching Portfolio. If you're looking for something to read this summer, come check it out at our library. So this is just an example of any faculty member teaching portfolio. Now, most of you probably will get, especially those of you in the college, Carla gives you this a little packet that tells you exactly how you're supposed to do it. So follow the rules. We give you instructions for a reason. So don't get all, willy-nilly, do it the way that she's asked you to do it. So this is what it looks like. This is just kind of a generic one. Here's when I asked her, what is this, and this is kind of extrapolated from that packet in the college. So what they want is a teaching statement, summary of all your quantitative scores. It kind of just juxtaposes all of your kind of scores across semesters. Qualitative reviews, and as I said, sometimes ADAs do that. Peer evaluations, and then syllabi. That's all they want for the teaching category.
The preceding program is copyrighted by Emory University.